Live. Okay, hello everybody in Obsessed. It's Hayley here. I haven't seen you guys for a little while. I have been doing some other cool stuff to bring to you guys later on in the year. Our amazing interviewer Annette is on an amazing writing sabbatical at the moment, so she'll be back in full-fledged flow next week, and she'll be continuing all the interviews. But for now, we've got the amazing Gail Saunders with us. She's joining us all the way from Perth. Yes, in Australia, but wait, she's got an accent. She's originally from Canada, and she's here to talk to us today about all things to do with relationship and how to thrive. Hold on, I'm just going to read it because, you know, I can't fuck it up that way. Intimate relationships, thriving and living a life that you love. Now, that really got me thinking, and there's people already saying, hey, Gail, on here. So I don't know who they are because I can't see their name because they haven't accepted the Skadoonit. But just give us the abridged version of how you ended up in our amazing country and kind of give us a bit of a rundown.
Yep. Originally came over when I was 22, so I'm going to be 40 mid this year, coming up on the big 40. Woohoo! Originally came over, and I know, right? So good. So excited. I'm loving it. I don't know if people get freaked out about it, but I'm just loving it. So originally came over on a holiday working visa, fell in love with the country, came back, studied, got my residency, got my citizenship, all that kind of stuff. And 18 years later, I'm still here. Met my husband over here. He's actually from the UK. When we met, we weren't actually meant to be the relationship to be. We were both in separate relationships. So
did you meet him here?
We did meet here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how long have you been married?
My daughter's 4, so 4 years, coming up on the 5th year in January.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell me how you got into all things relationship and why, because that's actually what you put in your interview request, that you're obsessed with it. How did that happen?
Well, it really happened from the School of Hard Knocks. Literally, like, you want to talk fucking up relationships? I did it. You want to talk manipulation, doing all the things you shouldn't do, trying to get a man to, like, trying to chase a man, being in my masculine state, trying to, like, make this thing work called relationship, and I just totally screwed it up. And then I went to work on myself and going like, okay, hang on a second, like, I've got to be the common denominator here. It can't just all be crazy men that I'm meeting, right? Like, so I had to start to look at myself. So it really came from like looking at myself, then learning it, then like completely fucking it up again. And then after my last long-term relationship ended, I actually did 8 months of not being in a relationship, so I could get to know myself and all the crazy crap that I was doing. And then I went out on a mission to find love, and my husband showed up, and we have a commitment even in our marriage vows that we will always continue to grow and do work. Why? Because we love it. We eat, sleep, and breathe it. We learn tools to be able to teach people, and that's why we're obsessed with it, because so many people suffer in silence. Like, relationships don't thrive. They kind of just exist, and people become like coexisting in the same house and just raising kids, or they don't really know each other anymore. And all these things happen instead of going like, I love you. I want to like eat you up. Like it is when you first meet and you're just like, oh, I absolutely love this person. So,
well, yeah. I mean, on that, I mean, there is so many pressures, especially when it comes to relationship. There's so many pressures around having the perfect relationship, and especially with the rise in seeing everything on social media and people like living these, you know, white picket fence lives on social media, going, my life's better than yours. The pressure can be like huge, especially when it comes to kind of having that perfect relationship. And I mean, obviously, with your experience with having negative relationship experiences, it's led you to where you are now. Do you think that's a big thing?
I think it is a huge thing, and I think people strive for this like perfection. Perfection doesn't actually exist. Like, my husband and I will never step up on stage or step into any interview and say we don't argue, because we do. We're very passionate people, and we're very loud about it. The difference between us and other couples is that we actually now have tools to get through it really quickly. So instead of like having an argument and then the first brick gets laid and then you get into resentment and it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and then you don't even know who you're in relationship with anymore. We've actually learned to actually reset all the time. So people never fall out of love, they fall into resentment. And it's such a key thing to get in relationship. There is no perfect relationship. And in truth, if you're not actually having knockdown arguments, you're missing out on the crazy stuff, right? Like, who doesn't love the makeup sex that comes after that, right?
That can be addictive, though.
It can be. It totally can be. Like, somebody like me, like I love the whole like wah, because I thrive on that. It's the variety of it, right? And I have to recognize that about myself, so I don't just start an argument purely for the sake of starting an argument, right?
Well, this is it. And you know what? Yesterday couldn't be perfect time. I was actually in a car having a discussion with a friend saying that it's not just relationships with your partner that needs constant attention. And there is so much focus on, you know, obviously, and I get it because it's like, it's a hot topic, right? Married life and trying to nail that perfect life. But relationships are in everything that we do, like family relationships, relationships with your mother, with your children, with your aunties, uncles, your customers, absolutely everything. So relationships are at the core of most things. So I find it crazy that we don't spend more time investing in the art of relationships. And that's what you guys do, isn't it?
It's exactly what we do. And it's not just like intimate relationships, like we love it, right? Because it really is the cornerstone. We're born to be in a relationship with someone. Yeah. So, and however that relationship looks, it looks different for everyone, right? But you're right. Like we have relationships with every single person that we're with. And like, if you can't get your relationship with yourself right, then you've got no chance in China of having like amazing relationships across the board. Your friendships are going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Your marriage, your intimate relationships, your relationship with your kids. So like in freeing me, what I got and what showed up for me in life was actually my intimate relationship. And until I dealt with my own crap, like seriously,
yeah,
those that work, right? Like I had a lot of shit to clear, right? So like until I got clear on all my shit, moved it out of the way and went like, hang on, who is this person? And how does she want to show up in relationship? Then did I actually have access to a relationship showing up that I could then build on and create amazingness from? But if I hadn't got clear on me, who knows what would have showed up?
And that's it. I mean, a relationship is the bringing together of two personalities, 3, 4, whatever it is, because relationships are not necessarily just two people. So it's the bringing together of two, and it takes constant work, work. And to the people out there that say, oh, you know, relationships shouldn't be that hard and it shouldn't need constant work, what do you say?
Oh, that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
You can either be right about that or you can be happy. And my choice is to be happy, hands down, right? Like I'm going to choose happiness above being right about like you don't need to put work in. You do. Like you can't expect your friends to just always be there if you don't put effort into showing up as a friend, right? Like, and you can't expect your marriage to be rocking and rolling if you're never showing up, or you're out getting, you know, you're out golfing, or you're out with the kids all the time, or you're loving your job and you're spending all your time there. Like your relationship's going to suffer. Like it's about being clear on, okay, how do I become addicted and obsessed with my intimate partner? And then also like the biggest thing for us, the first thing I teach is like you've got husband, wife, or wife, however your relationship rolls, right? Like you've got one partner and then another partner. And then you've got this entity called the relationship, right? But nobody ever sets up this one. We go into, this is what I want, this is what I want. And then like there's the battle of who gets to be right, right? Instead of saying, like, hang on a second, we're both 100% responsible for this entity called the relationship. Now that can be business relationship, intimate relationship, friendship, you name it. This entity called the relationship, until both people get that it's not a 50-50, it's I'm 100% responsible. Each person, like, shit happens. And it doesn't actually flourish, right? Like we don't get that awesomeness.
I literally just got goosebumps. I'm covered in goosebumps because it's not about 50-50, and that is, it's bad languaging. You have to show up 100% in yourself, and your 100% has to meet the 100%. So that you get a full balance.
So, and it doesn't even matter if like I've had to get off my post and leave my post 100 times, and that's my husband, Russell's only done it once. It doesn't matter. It's like who in that moment values this thing called relationship more and has the ability to just let go of their shit in that moment and show up for the relationship. So it doesn't matter if I go 100 times and he goes 1, or he goes 100 times and then I go 1. It makes no difference. It's how much do you want this relationship to work? And that's any relationship. That's a business relationship. That's with your kids. So it's like, you've got to go, hang on, how are we both showing up? And what is this entity called our relationship? And how are we actually going to create it? And what do we want for it? What's it going to look like? How are we going to feel? All those kinds of things. And we don't ever define this middle entity. We kind of just go about like being two people kind of doing our own thing, trying to show up for each other.
Yeah. And that, I mean, look, So does that require like setting down, like almost doing like, it sounds to me what you're kind of saying would be handy is you treat it like you would anything else that you want to be a success, and you have a plan in place, you have an agreement. So when you get married, and it just can be as simple as doing things like perhaps maybe writing things down and kind of so that you've both got down on paper what you expect from each other, and then you don't, or having like what's the thing that you put on a wall, like your message or
It's
your
kind of a
mission
statement or incantation or something that actually defines your relationship, right?
Yeah. Have it. Do you know who that was? My mother.
Love it. She's probably like, what are we doing? What's this thing going on?
About relationships. You're talking about me?
She's like, are you talking about my relationship with your husband, with your dad?
My mum. Yeah. So basically, sorry, like it would be handy to have, like maybe what a beautiful thing to have in your house, maybe something that you can put up on the wall that kind of have, and I know I've seen this on social media where they put rules up for the house. And I think it's really important that when you do get into fracas and disagreements, or you start to kind of, things start to kind of elevate, that you always remind yourself, is it important enough to affect the quality of the relationship?
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is like, we are in relationship, we fit together, our cogs go like this, right? So like, your trigger points, you met your partner so that they would trigger those. Like, that's the crazy thing. When you met them, like, you've been like, oh, I love this thing about them, but they're going to be the very thing that trigger you all the time. Like my spontaneity, my like, woohoo energy is like the polar opposite to my husband. He's like, calm down. Like, he can, like, if I go, let's go, babe, let's go out to dinner in 5 minutes. He's like, whoa, I need time to plan and get ready. And he's like, but he knows he needs that. And he loved that about me when we first met, but it drives him nuts now. Right.
Yeah.
But like,
why is that?
But because what we fell in love with initially is the opposite end of the same stick, right? Like, you don't get into relationship with your partner by accident, right? Like, you choose them for a reason. They're the access to the best growth that you're ever going to have. Like, literally, like his centered, his calm, his grounded, his loyalty, his emotion is exactly what I need. Because like, my personality type was like, okay, like I know how to tap into my emotion now, but I learned to do that. Like, I used to avoid the feeling and like push it down. And like, I've learned to open my heart and be centered and grounded and like love that side of myself. But that wasn't a natural thing for me. Right. So I had to learn the art of the feminine, which is like purging emotion and feeling. Like, we're emotional beings as women, whereas men are logical and they're steadfast, and they have these like structured conversations. And there's a mismatch that happens as well. Like, women can be in their masculine state and men can be in their feminine. And when that polarity is out in an intimate relationship, shit hits the fan. It's exhausting for a woman, but it's like cake for a man. Like, it's cruisy for a man if they're in their feminine state or a little boy state. They don't actually have to step up and like, they're not fulfilled, but it's easy. Whereas a woman will get physically exhausted if she's in the wrong emotional state in a relationship.
It's not, I mean, the thing is, and it can be dangerous territory, right? Talking about feminine state and masculine state, because it depends on people's ideals around what feminine means to them and what masculine means to them. And I don't like the term feminine versus masculinity. It's feminine with masculinity, especially in relationships you're always with. And it's kind of like the meshing of the two.
Yes.
But what,
right?
Right. So look, I get that because I'm an alpha female. So, when I go in and out of kind of masculine energy and feminine energy. I just think it would be quite difficult for people if you're not sure what feminine energy should be. It could be quite difficult for people to understand the difference. Because for me, somebody like me, always being that masculine energy, I feel like I'm just being me. I'm female. I feel like I'm feminine sometimes. Sometimes I suck a dress it. See, this is what I'm saying, like my mentality of feminine. Do we wear dresses? Are we at home with the children? What are the rules around that? Are there any?
Well, there's rules, but it's more down to how you feel, right? So if you think of it like this, when a woman is in her masculine state, life will feel controlled. It'll feel like she's carrying the weight of the world. The emotional relationship, the emotion for the relationship, like the weight of the relationship will feel like it's on her shoulders. Women will say things like, I don't have 2 kids, I have 3. And what she's saying there is that her husband is in little boy, which tells me straight away that she's either in mothering mode, or she's in a masculine state, which means she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, and it's physically exhausting. And women will recognize it straight away, right? Because their bodies will get sick. Like physically, they will get sick, and it will take them out at times. So that's a clear indication that, hang on a second, am I actually in the wrong state? And like, look, years ago in the corporate world, I was very much in my masculine state. I had no idea what the feminine state was. Like I would have been bouncing in and out of it. But then when I learned what it actually was, the power, the strength, what it actually brings to like a boardroom table, your best gift as a woman showing up to a boardroom table is your feminine state. Why? Because every man sitting around there becomes like putty in your hands. And this is not from a manipulation point.
No.
Putty because they go like, wow, they'll eat out of the palm of your hands because you have a gift that they can't bring. They literally cannot bring it. And people get confused with the feminine, thinking it's weak, or you have to like pander to this, or you have to wear dresses, you have to do that. Like, I can rock my PJs, or I can rock like wearing like sweats or anything in my feminine state. And I like when I first started experiencing the feminine state, like I had to go outside in. So when I first started doing it, yes, I put on dresses. Yes, I would do my hair, do my makeup, that kind of stuff, so I could work outside in. But now I know how it feels. So it makes no difference whether I have makeup on, how I show up, or what I look like. And the difference for the masculine state is like the man and the masculine energy, how that shows up is like, so this is the cool part that we see in our courses all the time. And when we're working with couples is the masculine state has the ability to make, you know how we say pregnant women glow?
Yeah.
The oxytocin rushes. Your man has the ability to bring that out in you in any minute by stepping into his masculine state. It's friggin' intense. Every woman in the room just goes, oh, give me some of that, right? And it's like strong and sturdy, and like it's like they're immovable. And women just go like, bring it, right? Like, but guys tend to back away from that because they think like, holy crap, like somebody's gonna, like, it's like the intensity of matching somebody in a pub, but with the humility and the love. So that like that strength and that energy, that intensity, but with the humility and love. And it breaks open a woman. And it's, oh my God, every time I see it, I can't get enough of it when I see it, right? Like, it's just, when you see it and you watch the woman's face and she just goes, like, her whole world relaxes when the oxytocin flows and a man steps up for her. She goes, holy crap, who's this man? And then the next thing that happens, just so everyone knows, is the woman is going to test the shit out of it to make sure he's going to still show up as that man. Because that's what we do. Are you going to be there? Can you keep doing it? Can you keep rocking it? So.
I love your energy. I can feel it through the screen. It is so nice. And this is actually why we started Obsessed in the first place, because there's so much. Look, I mean, obviously you do this for a living. And the thing is, I mean, for us, Obsessed is not about business promotion, but for us, businesses, anything with passion, anything that you just get obsessed about, it just oozes out of people. And you can't, well, you can, but it's very difficult to convey that in a marketing way, which is, for us, Obsessed is about finding out about people and seeing. Look, I mean, I don't think there's one person that would be watching right now that would dispute how passionate you are. It is oozing out of it's giving me goosebumps as you talk. And I love that, because I know then that you're truly doing something that you love, as opposed to just doing something that's going to make you some coin, right? So Facebook user, because I don't know who you are, has said, agree, this is great, learning a lot.
That's awesome. Yay!
And I'm like, where do I sign? I want my husband to give me that oxytocin, like, next level. Let's go.
Like, you won't. This is. I'm going to go left of center now, right? Because I kind of can't. Do you know what? Like, you will never experience making love, sex, whatever you want to frame it up as you will when you're in the right state. Like, before I met my husband, before I understood my feminine state, I would have told you I knew everything there was to know about sex. Like, I experienced great sex, not so great sex, and everything in between, right? And then I learned the art of being in my feminine state and actually opening myself and giving my whole self to somebody else. And holy crap, I wouldn't trade that for any sex that I had prior to being in my marriage. Like, we had sex before marriage, but still, never mind. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I had my first child at 14. I can't pretend I didn't have sex pre-marriage. Sorry.
Wow.
I know, right? I said I had a big blended family. I just dropped that bomb in there. Yes, we have 6 kids.
No, that's amazing. That is. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But how amazing! Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So literally, like, when you're in the right emotional state and you give yourself to a partner, you're no longer trying to control the shit out of it, or, you know, get to an outcome or reach orgasm, not reach orgasm. You let go and you surrender to being there, and you become one. Far out, it will knock you for six. So like, I invite you to go, okay, what do I need to let go of to be in my intimate relationship, to actually make love to my husband in a way where I'm not like, I get out of my head. And sometimes for a woman that takes time, because we have words and our brains don't ever switch off. The only time our brains switch off, ladies, just so you know, is that post-orgasm. And it's for like 30 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 minutes if you're lucky. So, but be okay to like let go of all the thoughts and what's going on here and get inside your body. Like, we don't realize to like breathe into our bodies and get into it when we're being intimate with our partners. It's the biggest thing. They get trapped up in here and like, am I doing it right? Are they enjoying it? What's happening? Am I going to reach orgasm? And am I getting there? How am I feeling? All that stuff. Just go body, feel, and just get into it from there. So that's my little side tip, because that's fun.
Okay, so we've got a question here from Naomi. She says, so are there ways to tap into your feminine energy on the spot?
Yes. The first thing that I always, like, I have a course called Fun Fabulous Flowing in the Feminine, and I'm not to promote it, but literally the first thing I teach in that, I'm going to teach it right now, is to breathe. Like, I know you're breathing day in and day out, and it sounds like a really simple thing, but the first thing to do is breathe. And I mean,
I'm breathing with you.
Breathe into your body. Like, your husband, your partner, your boyfriend, somebody says something to you that just absolutely pisses you off, breathe. Take a moment. You don't have to answer straight away. Breathe. Go, hang on a sec, babe. I've got to go to the bathroom. Like, give yourself a minute. If you need a minute, take a minute. You don't have to respond right then and there, because what's going to show up right then and there is going to be like, ooh, fighting words, right? We all know. They've just irked me. I'm going to jump in. If you breathe, you're going to go, hang on. Is there something I need to do with that? Is that actually about me, or is that more about him? It gives you just a minute, just a second to just pause and go, what do I need right now? Do I need to react to this? Is that what's going to best serve my relationship? Is that going to best serve me? And then choose. Like, sometimes I choose to totally go jump in, right? Like, it's okay. It's okay to do that. But other times I'm like, hang on a second. The next words that are coming out of my mouth, and this happens in like a split second. The next words coming out of my mouth, literally, like, that is going to send my relationship into like, whoa, fighting mode, right? So I'm like, no, stop, Gail. That's not where you want to head.
Naomi said she feels like she's never breathed before.
You don't. People they're going through, and just stop and breathe. Like, just go, okay, what do I need for me today? How do I fill my cup? How do I give me a moment to just like, and sometimes that's not possible. Like, it feels like it's not possible. Like, chaos is happening. The kids are all doing their thing and life is just crazy. But like, in and amongst that, go, what can I do for me right now to fill my cup? And that's a big downfall for a lot of women in relationship, especially when they have kids, is they forget to take care of themselves and fill their own cup. So in terms of tapping into the feminine, go, what do I need? And that might be 5 minutes laying out in the sun. That might be putting a song on and forgetting that there's a mess and the kids are going crazy and just going, I'm going into my music right now and I'm feeling it in my body. So yeah.
I mean, for me, it is literally just cranking the music up. I'm probably going outside to the sun and just kind of like putting my face up to the sun. And interestingly enough, is breathing. Yeah. And I found that, like, I had a mentor who actually he is still one of my life mentors. I've known for a very long time. And I remember him saying and there's quite a few things that, thank God, that have stuck with me. But one of the key points of things that he said to me, we were sitting in a room and this is to do with business. And he said, one of the most important things that you can do in business, and when you're making any sort of decision, not just in business, but in life, and I've taken it with me in the last 20 years since I've known him, and that is, people forget to breathe.
Yeah.
If you can actually bring a consciousness to how often you're holding your breath in intense situations, and that can be good intense and bad intense, because intensity doesn't necessarily have bad energy or good energy. It can be both, right? So I find myself doing it all the time, like holding my breath. I'm like, oh, and then I have to like do a big, like a big belly breath, and then have a sigh when I breathe in, and then like sigh at the same time. It changes me energetically. Yeah.
Physiologically, you totally change when you actually tap into your breath. And like, if you want to breathe, if you want to connect into the love that you have for your partner, because they've just said something's like, touch your heart. breathe into your heart, go down to your gut and breathe into your belly, be belly breathing, be heart breathing, tap into your head, because it is a creative source, although it goes crazy a lot of the time. But tap into it as well, but be okay to check in, but breathe it down to your heart as well to check in there, and breathe it down to your gut. So you're getting these 3 things, breathing into them and like allowing it to actually just ooze through your body, so you can then choose how you're going to respond. So you're not becoming a reaction. You're actually showing up and going, how do I want to show up right now, instead of just going react.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm loving this. We could do this for ages.
I know. I'm like, this is so much fun.
I love it. Like, so, I mean, on this, Tracy's saying that so true, Hayley, that's why stress is rampant. And I think that in this fast-paced environment, because slowing things down is easier said than done. I mean, it's a little bit different at the moment because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but energetically, I feel the energy starting to pick up again in the world. You can see that the cars are busier, phones are ringing in our businesses and things a bit more. So we can see the energy coming back. What are some of the tips that you've got to help center people and remind them to be still in a moment? Because it can be so difficult in fast-paced environments on social media, always wanting to be doing something outside of yourself instead of bringing it back to yourself.
Yeah. Don't make it about having to actually be still and silent. Go, how do I bring this into my all day? So like when you're washing the dishes, be there washing the dishes. I know most of us have dishwashers these days, but you get the point, right? When you're with the kids, be there with the kids. When you're going to the toilet, be there going to the toilet. When you're brushing your teeth, be there brushing your teeth. And then in and amongst it, how, like if you're going to fill your own cup, go like I will put a face mask on, and then I still go about like the kids are still doing their thing. I've got my face mask on. So I'm not having that like moment. And it is important to have those moments when you can stop, but that's not viable all the time, and that's not always possible. So don't let that be the thing that stops you and take you out. Just go, okay, how do I bring that into right now? Like, okay, I'm driving to pick up the kids. Okay, I'm going to just be present to driving and picking up the kids. I'm going to go into having 2 or 3 minutes with this song. I'm actually just going to plug my headphones in. I'm going to close my eyes, and for those 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I'm just going to be here for me. I'm just going to feel me, and everything else can just deal with itself. So just it doesn't have to be these big, long times, but like just going, how do I fit this into all the time type thing? So you become like this instead of like this, and thinking like, oh, if I don't get to sit for 10 minutes and have that, and I can't actually be calm and centered and grounded. Well, yes, you can. You just have to work the muscle, right? And teach yourself to go, hang on a second, I can have a moment for me in and amongst crazy. Because life shows, right? Like, we're all at home. Kids are at home. Kids are back at school. Some places are back at school, some not, right? So it's like, how do you create calm and centered in and amongst crazy and chaos? Well, you go, okay, well, I'm just going to do it because I'm committed to it. And I'm going to do it whilst I'm walking to the fridge to make dinner. I'm going to do it whilst I'm walking to the toilet. Like those little tiny times will make such a huge difference. But those are the times we forget to actually go, I can actually just breathe right now. And take that moment.
You've really got to just kind of like take each moment, and that really kind of wraps up for me in a nice little bow. A nice little package with a bow. Being in the moment, and actually being in the moment can seem like a massively overwhelming thing for some people, like that are highly vibrational, especially like yourself and me, that are go, energetic and feeling the need to do all the stuff and the things. 3 children, I know you've got a large family, so. Being in the moment doesn't necessarily have to, because somebody says the word still to me, I get anxiety.
I'm going to stop.
I got to do what now? Yeah, exactly right. So, and my own lessons, I've found that meditating for me isn't necessarily sitting there doing these ones. It can be, but I find more meditative moments throughout my day that involve doing something than doing nothing. Like, just very simple things. And meditation, if you think about it, isn't kind of, and I think that's an oldie worldy kind of woo-woo way of thinking about meditation. There's many ways to find the moment in each moment.
Exactly. And like, I mean, something my husband and I have introduced of recent is we've been doing yoga every morning. And some sessions might be like 10 minutes long and some might be 30. Sometimes the girls come and climb all over their dad and you're doing yoga poses, but we don't even let that stop. It's like, it's about embracing and bringing into the moment and becoming present regardless to what shows up. And that's a key point for the feminine as well, is flow. Like if you're trying to structure and make it rigid and kind of and it be like that, it's not going to happen. Like that's just not how we work. Like we're curvaceous, right? And it's a metaphor for like women are meant to flow. Like if you think of our bodies are not structured and rigid, right? Like they curve and they flow. And that's like to get to a point where you're actually flowing through life instead of going, this has happened, I got to deal with it. It's like, no, how do I move with this? How do I let this flow through? You know, like if I'm in the middle of a live and my daughter comes running to me nude out of the bath, like I just roll with it, right? Because I go, oh, okay, that's how we're rolling.
Or when you're on a live and your mother calls.
I know, you go like, yay, mom. She's obviously intrigued by what we're talking about. Whether she's listening or not is irrelevant. She's gone, something's happening and I need to know what it is.
And you know what? Sometimes you just need to resist the urge for perfection because A, it doesn't exist, and B, it just causes so much more stress. Just let it go. Aim for progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And really, like, there is no perfect relationship. There is no something to achieve. There is no place to get to. It's just like, how do I create the best version of our relationship inside of what works for us? Because there is no hard, fast rule. There are things that work in relationship, yes, and there's the blueprint to having an amazing relationship, but there is no like one size fits all. Like when we work with couples, it's literally like you have to work with the couple and where they're at. You can't say like, if you're not doing this, then it's this. It's like, no. There's things that work, and then there's like real life.
Of course, it's not a one size thing. It's just like we're dealing with people and we're all different and all have different needs and we're all at different stages, and you've got to meet people where they're at. Gail Saunders, thank you for joining us today. You are an absolute covered in goosebumps. You're a ball of energy. Your gifts are very apparent and your passion is just oozing out of you. I can clearly tell that you are obsessed with all things relationship, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you inside the group, and perhaps we can talk later off camera about possibly being in the magazine and doing a write-up for us. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thanks you, Gail.